So basically this is the Java project for us to avoid SQL injection. Most probably will work lah. Okay. So first, this is a web application. So these are the dependencies needed. I will put this on GitHub, okay, so you guys can see. So basically it's going to run as a Jersey application. So we are going to use Postgres. So let's go into the project. So I will have, this is the connection for the database. Okay, simple connection. And I have 3 class to run the application. Okay, first we're going to see on the main class. This is the class that going to be called at the URL on the browser. So basically what this thing going to do is it's going to pass a text, and the text must be equal to the data in a database. Okay, if it's equal, then it's going to return a ID. Okay, so this is the code for that basically. So it's going to receive an text, and it's going to check on the database and give the ID of the user. Okay, so this is the code for that. It's very simple. And here we are calling the test SQL class. So test SQL class, this is a test SQL class. It's very simple. So what we are doing here, we're actually getting the text, and this is our query. So our query, this is the way we prepare the query. Okay, select all from names where people name equals to something. Okay, and we assign that some text to the array. Okay, let's say if you have more than one parameter to be passed, okay, you guys can pass more than one parameter here, and can accept more than one parameter here as an array, or pass it multiple string and convert that into in here as an array. For example, you can add here text 2. Okay, so it's going to be as an array. Okay, so you're going to call this DB connection class. Inside the DB connection class, we have run query method. Run query method will accepting 2 parameters. One is the query, and the second is the parameter whatever we want to check. Okay, so we're going to see into the DB connection class. Okay, this is the DB connection class. Okay, we're going to initiate with all the properties grabbing things. Okay, from the config.properties. So this is basically just getting the Postgres connection details. Okay, we're going to get the URL, driver, username, and password. So the actual query run is over here actually. So basically what it says here is we're going to initiate an ID equals 0, and then we're going to have a result set. Okay, in our results, in our try blocks here, okay, we have a connection to a database. Okay, this method actually dynamically populate the params. So if you have more than one params, it's going to actually assign. Okay, it's going to assign dynamically each params. Okay, let's go back to our query. Let's say if you have more than one, let's say where people name is something and blah 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 equals to something. Okay, so this going to be 1 and this going to be 2. Okay, this going to be 1, this going to be 2. Okay, so when we come here, so we're gonna set the string x plus 1. So 1 going to be this value, and 2 going to be this value in here. Okay, so then we're going to pass our param based on 0 1. Okay, these are our params. Okay, so and in this sample we only have one param here. Okay, we're gonna delete the next. We're gonna have this. Okay, and then we grab the params and we pass here. Okay, we set it here, and then we're gonna execute the query. Okay, and then we're gonna grab the ID of that particular user. Okay, and here we handle all the exception and also the closing, whatever connection need to be closed. And here is just a setter and getter method for our connection details. Okay, so now we're going to run this application basically. So just run on Tomcat. Okay, so our web is running properly. Okay, what I'm gonna do now here is actually I have a DB SQL here. Inside our DB SQL, this is actually you guys can find in the GitHub. So you guys can just import this data in your Postgres database. Okay, so in here I already have created the database called tests, and inside the test got names. Okay, these are the names. At the moment there's nothing inside here. Okay, so what you can do here is we can go here and call our test. Okay, basically close this. This is from W3 School explaining on SQL injection. So this is what mean with SQL injection. We are passing some malform data. Okay, so this gonna be returning true whenever we pass, and this thing gonna return true aside from this. Okay, so there's a lot of way to do the SQL injection. So this is just one of the simplest way to explain. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna just simply call something here actually. So I'm just gonna call some value that not exists, and it's gonna return probably 0. Yes, means that the data is not there. Okay, even though if I pass something, then or 1 equals to 1, it's still gonna return me 0. It doesn't run. Okay, let's try to put some data inside here. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put test1 and then save it. This is gonna be 1, then test 2, this is gonna be 2. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna do test 3 also. Okay, and I'm gonna save this. So it's gonna return because I need to give 3. Okay, this. Okay, so I just need to delete this basically. You can answer editor into column. It's not working. Never mind, no problem. So I just input it like this. Insert. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna insert some value. So this is exactly how our data looks like at the moment. So this is actually one of the ways. See, the question mark is there. Okay, so I'm just gonna insert forget about the ID. Just gonna insert some name here. Test1. Let's try execute this if it works. Okay, it works. So I'm gonna do test2 and test3. Okay, then we go back here. What we can do here, we just call this. We just close this, don't save, and just do a callback. And this will explain the data of the database. So we have test1 ID3, test2 ID4, and test3 ID5. So what we can do here is first let's do the test1. We get 3, and we can get test2 is 4, and of course test3 gonna be 5. So let's say if we pass, let's say this is our actual value, and we pass some malform data, and it's gonna return 0. And also if we try to give some other detail than the data that not exists in the database, also going to return 0. This means that I assume that the SQL injection prevention is working fine. Okay, so guys can go and check on the codes from the GitHub, and I think that's all.